Hi, I'm Agnieszka Fitzkowska. I'm the base commander here at Halley Station on the Brunt Ice Shelf. I've been lucky enough this year to winter in this great new facility that we have and experience what it's like to truly live and work in the Antarctic.
The British Antarctic Survey's Halley Research Base is just one of the Antarctic stations featured in the Ice Lab exhibition. The Halley 6 station allows scientists to study the Earth's atmosphere, providing information key to understanding ozone depletion and climate change. It's designed to withstand temperatures of up to minus 55 degrees Celsius, but have a minimal impact on the environment. Mike Pinnock is Head of Physical Sciences at the British Antarctic Survey, and he's been travelling to Antarctica regularly since 1976. I asked him what British Antarctic scientists ideally want from a research station.
One of the main things we would like, particularly if you're living on an ice shelf, is a stable, warm platform that you don't keep having to rip your instruments out of and move to other places because of what's happening to the ice shelf. And that's what the new Halley station delivers, because it's a completely relocatable base. So that as the ice shelf grows and potentially you will have calving events, i.e. icebergs will start breaking off from it, we can lift the station up onto its skis and tow it further inland and stay within the same housing. Whereas up until now, we've been having to move, typically every 10 years, we've been having to take all of the science out of the station, move to a new station, and that's a major disruption to all the observations. It's a lot of work and it's also quite expensive.
The first Halley station opened in 1956, and the first 4 were buried under a natural accumulation of ice. Snow accumulates in this part of Antarctica at a rate of 1.5 metres per year, meaning that anything constructed on the surface will eventually be buried. But thanks to advances in technology, engineers and architects are now able to design a station that can both stay on the surface and be moved from place to place. That means moving structures as heavy as 200 tonnes across the ice. Mike Pinnock says the new station looks a bit like a train.
If you stood outside it, what you see is there's a series of modules that are coupled together, and in fact the couplings are not dissimilar to the couplings between railway carriages. But it means that you can break these couplings and tow a module away, hence getting the relocatable base. So from the outside, the modules are very large, boxy structures that are on 4 legs with skis at the foot of them. Nearly all the modules are blue, and then there's one very big red module with a large window set in the side of it, which is the main living accommodation. That's the heaviest module. If anybody's ever seen the Thunderbirds TV puppet program, I always think the modules look a bit like something out of Thunderbirds.
Inside, the base is bright and colourful, making it cheerier than previous stations. But as Mike Pinnock points out, landscapes in this section of Antarctica are not always starkly white.
Although people might think, well, in the Antarctic it's completely dark outside, that's not entirely true. When you get full moon nights on the ice shelf, it can be astonishingly light. I mean, you can walk around outside without the aid of torches. And also during the winter, you get, around midday, you do get an orange glow on the northern horizon. And then, of course, there's the spectacular aurora, the southern lights, in the case of Halley. I often liken the ice shelf to the ocean, to people who are not sailors or yachtsmen. The ocean looks all the same, but when you speak to yachtsmen, they'll tell you there's constant variety in the sea and its state. The ice shelf is similar.
Russia was not part of the Ice Lab exhibition because it hasn't built new stations recently. Its key research outpost, Vostok Station in East Antarctica, was built in the 1970s. Its buildings are more utilitarian than Halley, but they also have to withstand a far tougher environment, where temperatures drop to minus 70 degrees or more. And, as at the Halley station, some staff live there all year round, but the conditions are considerably more severe. Mike Pinnock.
Vostok looks incredible, and I'm full of admiration for anybody who winters at Vostok. It must be a very hard place with the temperatures really extreme, well, the coldest place on Earth.
In any case, Vostok is different from Halley in countless ways, says Mike Pinnock. For instance, Vostok is 3,500 metres above sea level, making it difficult to breathe, whereas Halley is just 15 metres above the sea. But would he like to go there?
Certainly, if someone was to offer me the chance, I wouldn't turn it down. It does look an absolutely fascinating place.
As well as Halley 6, the exhibition showcases 3 other unusual Antarctic research outposts, plus an experimental design for a station made entirely from ice. Ice Lab has been curated by Sandra Ross. She works for the Arts Catalyst, which specialises in artworks that engage with science. She's keen to bring science to a wider audience through the exhibition, going beyond the usual sentimental pictures of penguins. Sandra told me how she chose which stations to focus on.
I created a sort of baseline of looking at architecture that happened within the last decade. I mean, these stations take, from drawing board to actual realisation, on average about 5 to 8 years. So new buildings aren't very frequent in Antarctica. So there wasn't a huge pool to choose from.
And different countries have different approaches to their Antarctic missions.
Some, I would say, are very transparent and have a very strong PR interface, including British Antarctic Survey or the Belgians International Polar Foundation. Some, I would say, are a little bit more secretive, something like Concordia, which is a joint Italian and French initiative. They don't have such a public interface in terms of a detailed website, etc., etc. There's no precedent for this type of exhibition, which is interesting. There's no book I could have actually gone to find out all this information all in one go, if that makes sense.
Antarctica, it seems, is still in many ways a secret and secretive place. But if you want to learn a little more about the frozen continent, the Ice Lab exhibition is in Manchester until early January.